Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. For those of you that are in preparation or are getting ready, I'm going to say first and foremost, Happy Turkey Day, Happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate it. Of course, as you are coming in, go ahead and drop a one. If you are here, you're already in route or on location as to what family member's house you're going to be getting Thanksgiving dinner at tomorrow. So of course there's a lot of you guys are in preparation. A lot of you guys are preparing meat, preparing side dishes, preparing all kinds of things before Thanksgiving. But before you delve into the holiday festivities, wanted to talk to you guys today about a very interesting perspective on the 9 to 5 schedule, as far as what we traditionally would call working 9 to 5. You guys, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie with Dolly Parton in it. That's where the inspiration came from. I don't want to necessarily play it on this live because I don't want them coming after me for copyright, but want to make sure that, of course, you guys have a good perspective on how different generations view the proverbial corporate work schedule or the typical work schedule, and that there's nothing wrong with a typical work schedule within the confines of what it is that you're capable of, what you want to do, where you want to go with your career, and otherwise. And of course, as you guys know, the 9 to 5 schedule is not meant for everybody. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying everybody should fit into that category. However, what I am saying for the younger generation, like the Gen Zers, before I even get into this too tough, all of us, I'm a Gen Xer, of course I'm telling my age a little bit, but we all had to pay our dues in some way, shape, or form. Of course, as you're coming in, drop a one, say hello, how you doing? I promise I don't bite. If you have a different opinion about what I'm talking about, active participation is encouraged. So let's dive in, shall we, guys? I want to make sure that you guys have a varying perspectives on what it is that we are talking about tonight. So this article comes from Business Insider. It's written by a Fortesta Latifi. It was written, I think what it was a few days ago. All right, so the title reads, I'm a Gen Xer who just graduated and started my full-time job, and I was shocked by the 9 to 5 schedule. I'm not sure, kind of, kind of flat. It's kind of throwing me already. You know what time you're going to be at work, and you know what time you're leaving, but let's continue, guys. I want to make sure as you're coming in, go ahead and like the video and share it with somebody that you know is going to benefit from the information we share tonight. Piper Hazen graduated this spring and has been working full time for less than a year. She says it's really depressing to work 9 to 5 schedule. Woohoo! Okay, all right. Piper also says Gen Z workers can see there's a possibility for a better way of living. We all have. This is as told to told this is an as told to essay based on a conversation with Piper Hansen, a 23-year-old who just started to work her full-time job in Louisville, Kentucky. Her employment has been verified by the Insider. The following has been edited for length and clarity because, of course, we are going to touch on it just a little bit. She says, I work in an YMCA office and I find my job really rewarding, but it's difficult not to feel like it takes up most of my life. It's only been I'm trying my best to keep my sarcasm down, but we're going to get into that in a second. I've only been working full time for a few months since graduating from college in the spring, and I'm already downtrodden by it all. Oh, okay. How can I make sure I'm eating well and seeing my friends and taking time for my hobbies? How am I supposed to fit my whole life into a 9 to 5 work schedule? Figure it out. Everything's figure outable, but let's continue. And I'm going to give my commentary after this. I usually wake up around 7 and I'm at work from about 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. By the time I get home from my full time job, I barely have time to walk the dog and make dinner before it's dark outside. Then I have to make sure the coffee pot is ready for the next morning and I have something to take for lunch the next day. Okay. I'm home for just a few hours before I get ready to go to bed by 11. Okay. All righty. So, does life have to be like this? No, it doesn't. Everybody has choices. And we're going to talk about some of those choices after this. Lately, there's been discussion prompted by the viral video in which a Gen Zer worker cries about not having time left to live her life with the demands of a 40-hour work week. Some people are sympathetic, saying they felt the same way and are still enraged by the system after decades of working in it. But others commenters weren't so kind. I can feel the sarcasm coming, but I'm gonna I'm gonna continue. And then I'll add my piece to that and also provide some insight, depending on what direction any of you guys want to go. Some commenters said Gen Zers is soft. I'm sorry, as a Gen Xer, I kind of feel that way too. Just saying. And it needs to buck up and get used to it because this is the way it is. As a Gen Z person who's going through the same transition into the workforce as a person in that viral video, I just want to say we know this is how it is. But does it have to be that way? Absolutely not. And I will go over with you. We're going to talk about why it is that way and why it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. However, we'll discuss it further. Let's continue. It's really depressing to live like this. Oh boy. I tried to plan time to do things with my friends who live nearby, but one of us is always exhausted by our workday or has to wake up early early the next morning. It feels like there's only time for work and go home and rest before work starts again. It's wild. That's not how humans are supposed to live. And that's what I love about Gen Zers. We see the reality of the way the world is, but we also see that there's a possibility for something better. I hate to break it to you, Gen Zers. You're not the only one that see it. Now, let's keep going. Maybe it's not enough to realize that. We can change things. Better is possible. I absolutely agree with that piece. She says, I wish there were more work schedule options. it's it's not even that I don't like my job because I do, but it feels like it takes up most of my life. The other day, there was an issue at work, and a coworker turned to me and said, "Are you ready to work the next 45 years of your life?" And my stomach sank. She's like, "I'm not ready." I understand. I wish there were more options for schedules that are conducive to actually having a life outside of work. I do not want my next 45 years to be the same as these last few months of going to work, coming home, eating dinner, rest, then going back to work. I want to live life too. Of course, we all do. I don't know if a full time in person job will be my future for the rest of my career. I want to be able to have a more flexible life. Nothing wrong with that. Where I can go into and go and sorry, where I can maybe go in to the office for a morning meeting, then I have lunch at home and have some time to run errands in the afternoon. I want to be able to work remotely more. I see other people having more flexible situations that allow them to travel and enjoy other things outside of work. I want that too. And in the meantime, I'm trying to fill that void with seeing my friends and developing hobbies in the little free time I have. And this is the end of the article. Now, guys, let me get back on this here screen. Jesus. Number one is if you guys are coming in and you like what you hear so far, go ahead, drop a like on the video, share it with somebody that wants to be a part of this discussion. And of course, you can comment and add your piece to the commentary that we are having tonight. Number one, there are things that she said that I completely agree with. I don't think what the 9 to 5 schedule, when you're first, you first start off after you graduate from college or you graduate from high school and you jump into the workforce initially, there are some things about it. She's already talking about the fact that it's unbearable because you have no time for yourself. So my first official question about this, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. You guys can also chime in with yours. What about the 9 to 5 schedule? She in the GenZers find unbearable. There's no flexibility. There's no oh, I can't find time to find hobbies. What do you think the rest of the older generations have been doing for years? Figure it out. We use the time that we do have left. Or some of us work hard and put in even more work after work to earn our freedom. Because unfortunately, it's not going to be given to you. I understand you just graduated college, GenZers, or you graduated high school, and you're figuring out this thing called life. No one, I hate to break it to you, being an adult or adulting, this is part of adulting in some cases. Of course, there's some GenZers that have figured out other ways and means to make income as far as starting businesses. This is the 2023. It has never been easier for an individual to start a business, whether it be a service business, an item business, brick and mortar business, or internet-based or web-based business. The technology is there. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not possible. But it is going to take work, and it's going to take work either on the 9 to 5 side, or it's going to take work if you decide to become a consultant or an independent contractor, you're going to work even more. So what about the 9 to 5 schedule that GenZers find unbearable? The inflexibility of it, I'm sure. But older generations like the Millenials and the GenXers like myself and the Boomers before me had to figure it out. So GenZers, I'm going to say this, you got to figure it out. We had to figure out a way around a 9 to 5 schedule. If we wanted to do something different, you have to carve that option out for yourself. That means, what kind of business do I want to start? If you want the flexibility, or do you want to go into a work or a industry such as IT, where your work schedule is more flexible, or go into a field of study where it does not require you to actually go to one location. It all depends. You have career options, but you got to exercise those options. And what I mean by exercise those options, don't just say, I don't like being so restricted with my schedule. What you have to ask yourself is, how can I figure out a better schedule for me? What industry is going to provide me with the flexibility that I'm looking for? Some people want more flexibility. Some people want less flexibility, or they want the flexibility to work from anywhere. Some people want the flexibility to travel in their job. It all depends on what it is you're looking for. You have to, number one, know what you want. And number two, now that you know what you want, what industry or what field of, what field, what business, what career type is going to give you exactly what you want. So of course, any one of us that entered the workforce initially, the 9 to 5 kind of, it does seem unbearable. You have no time for yourself, but guess what? You got to figure it out. What becomes important to you is what you figure out. And that literally means making the necessary steps and actually doing the work to do that. There's none of us that have been working the 9 to 5 schedule or still work the 9 to 5 schedule. Our financial freedom and our personal economic freedom is not coming cheap. You have to work for it in one way or the other, whether it be figuring out what field of study it is that you want, and then making sure that field of study is giving you what you need and you have to carve out a strategy. Of course, that is something I help all of you guys. That is something I definitely help with. If you're looking for a straight up strategy to help you figure out your way from 9 to 5 to business owner, or 9 to 5 to, or switching from one type of career to another in a different industry, you can definitely go to mentorshelly.com/consultations to get help with that. And we will work together one-on-one to get that done. If you're looking to switch industries and you need help with resume, you can go to mentorshelly.com/consultations for either one of those things. Now, let's get back to the discussion. Question number 2. Now, what do previous generations like myself, Millennials, GenXers, Boomer generation, what did they say? What do previous generations like Millennials, Gen Xers, and Boomers want to truly say to Gen Xers when they complain about regular corporate work schedules? I'm sorry. I'm going to say it as a Gen Xer. You got to suck it up. I'm sorry. Listen, the Gen Xers, I have no problem with you thinking differently. And I adapt to that thinking. I'm very open to that. But you also have to realize you're just getting an introduction to adulthood in a sense. That's not the only way to be an adult, but that's usually the introduction for most. There are a few that have, businesses handed it to them, and they still have to work to maintain that. But for those of us that went to high school, went to college, graduated with your degree, and now you're working in either the field of study or your field of choice, and it does have a 9 to 5 component that you do have to report to, things of that nature. It's a part of life. And working that 9 to 5 as a young person, if you don't already have structure, will help you to build structure, 1, and 2, also understand the business systems within the inner workings of the job that you already have. So it's not a bad thing to be in that structure. Learn from it, then take what you need, and then create your own situation. So a lot of us, I'm not going to lie, a lot of us Gen Xers are going to tell you to suck it up. No joke. And, maybe that's not a nicest thing to say, but it's as real as I can get. Because at some point, all of us had to figure out how we work around the 9 to 5 to really get what we really want out of life. Not that we hate our careers. None of, and some of us, there are some people that do. There's more than 50%. There was a poll that was done maybe a few years ago about how many people actually like their jobs, and over half said no, they hate their jobs and they want to quit or they want to do something different, but they have financial responsibilities they have to take care of. So that's why you always hear me say, to enrich your own personal economy, you have to figure out what it is you want. Do you want a different career? Do you want to be an independent contractor? Do you want to run your own business with systems and things of that nature that help you run the business? Figure out what it is that you want, then we can build around it to help you facilitate what you want. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry, Gen Xers, the previous generations are not going to be easy on you. We understand where you're coming from and we agree with you. Your work schedule shouldn't definitely suck up that portion of your life. However, if you want something different, you have to work to get something different. You have to work to cultivate something different. All right, so number 3, how and why are Gen Zers viewing and experiencing the typical 9 to 5 schedule with such negative connotations? Because we're in 2023. A lot of things are not the same as when Gen Xers, when Boomers, or when Millennials, some Millennials were growing up. There are a lot of different, there's a lot more technology involved. There's a lot of things that are much easier for Gen Xers. You all grew up with the internet and computers. I'm a Gen Xer here that the computers were introduced when I started college. Not computer, yeah. Personal computers were introduced personal computers were introduced when I started high school, and the internet was introduced when I started college. So the fact that you guys have had this since birth, Gen Zers, you guys are in a very precarious situation because you have a lot of you may not have any kind of experience with going to the library and looking through the bibliography of cards. You may know how to do that if they show you how to do it at school, but most of your experience dealing with the library is going to be starting on a computer first. We come from a generation where we had to go through cards to find books and actual books you hold in your hand. Yes, of course, you guys, there's a lot of that's available to you as well. But because things have come easy for Gen Zers, a lot of the structures that are already in place become foreign because everything is social media driven, and you can do this and make this. Not to say that those things aren't possible, they are absolutely possible, but not everything is easy, and not everything is everything is not instant. It's going to take work, it's going to take some form of structure, it's going to take figuring some things out. Everything's not easy, folks. So Gen Zers, you're gonna. I know you may view the 9 to 5 as something negative. It's not negative. What it is it's an experience you can learn from, and it is also something that it gives you. It's training wheels for your economic future. You may not stay in corporate America, but it definitely will teach you about some of the business systems that may become important if you decide to create your own business, or if you decide to go in different sectors or different industries. It's important to understand what it is that business is in general, because everything is a business. The furniture that we buy, there's a business that created that. The computers that we use, the phones we use, all of those are businesses. So you have to understand business from a sense of everything is a business. Do I want to create one? Do I want to work within one? Do I want to run one? Or do I want to work in this particular industry? And why is it that I view working the typical 9 to 5 schedule so negatively? Because it restricts your free time. And when you become an adult and you have responsibilities, you have to work to make sure you can take care of those responsibilities, whether you're working for yourself or you're working for other people. And that tends to happen. You lose some free time, and that's unfortunately just part of being an adult. And that's okay. Gen Zers, you will learn through this process that if you want your freedom, you have to work to earn it. Okay? So, last question, and I want to make sure there are other questions that I wanted to go through, but I want to make sure that you guys have a good idea. This was not to necessarily bash Gen Zers, but unfortunately, Gen Zers, you have it great. You have it great in the sense that you have the autonomy to not just think differently, but also being able to provide a different perspective than other generations had. Because you grew up in an age where the internet, computers, cell phones were something that was pretty much a given. It was already here. You tend to look at things a lot differently than older generations, which for all of us that are open-minded, definitely welcome. But, there's also everybody has to pay their dues, and so do you. So what is it? Let me ask this question, and maybe I'll ask the last one. What can Gen Zers teach older generations about the typical 9 to 5 work schedule? A lot of us already know that. You don't have to work a typical 9 to 5. You can be in an industry, you can be in an organization, you can be in an industry that doesn't require you to work a set 9 to 5. But what are those industries? What industries give you the freedom and autonomy to do so? What type of career path gives you that? If a specific career path is not what you're looking for, then, what type of business gives you that? digital business. You have digital creators like I'm doing right now, creating this particular live stream video, talking about a particular situation, but I can also be teaching you something through video as well. That's considered a digital product. That could be a part of a digital course. That's another way people are, enriching their economy, so to speak. So Gen Zers will definitely have way more ideas because they grew up with this stuff. Some of us, like the Gen Xers, they got introduced to our generation, but they've lived with it, and they definitely have a completely different perspective on what's possible versus us. That's kind of been in the trenches on both sides for more than 20 years. So I would say to previous generations, always be open to hear what younger generations, such as Gen Zers and the ones coming behind them, have to say or have to share about just the job market, the industry, what it is that they have to offer, what their ideas are. There's been some ingenious things that some Gen Zers have figured out, and they're far ahead of the curve than a lot of us Gen Xers and Millennials. So I will never dare say, oh, the Gen Zers are silly and stupid and they just need to suck it up. No, I would never share that kind of sentiment because that would be stupid. You can't discount what another person's point of view is, especially when it's coming from a genuine place. So I want you guys to, what can Gen Zers teach us? Teach us to think more. Teach us to see possibilities where we didn't see it before because of maybe, let's say, the structure or in the environment that we grew up in. But of course, the internet and technology is our oyster. How we choose to use it is up to every one individual here. If you guys are just coming into the live chat, go ahead and drop a 1, say hello in the comments. I do welcome interaction, whether it be short, just to say hello, how you doing, or if you guys have questions or comments towards the subject matter we are discussing, go ahead and say hello and drop a 1 and give me your feedback, please. Of course, what can older generations, let me put this is the very last question. What can older generations teach the younger generation, Gen Zers, about the job market? There's no free lunch, folks. You got to earn. If you want it, you got to earn it. That's what I can say from a Gen Xer's perspective. Proud Gen Xer here. And Millennials will tell you the same thing. If you want it, you got to earn it. If you want something different out of life, if you want to earn your keep, I guess. I'm using colloquialisms at this point, but if you want to earn your keep in this job market or in this economy, we are living in capitalistic societies. Nobody is going to provide us with, oh, well, you can have an easy life if you do this. No, you got to earn it. And you got to figure it out. I definitely provide assistance with that if you're looking to start a business, if you're looking to change career paths, or if you're just starting out on your career path and you want to make sure that you have a solid plan to transition from one place to the next. Maybe you're switching from merchandise purchasing to you're to network security. You never know. Whatever, if you're switching, you're wanting to break into tech, there's a Facebook group called Breaking Into Tech led by Erica Williams, one of the best business minds out there in the YouTube space and in Facebook. So she has a group now called Breaking Into Tech. If you're looking to make changes as far as your career path is concerned, you can definitely check out that group. There's a lot of really great insights being offered there, a lot of help if you're looking to break into tech in whatever areas in tech you choose to go in. Also based on where you're coming from. That also dictates that as well. And of course, guys, if you are looking for help as far as structuring your career is concerned, you can definitely go to mentorshelley.com/consultations. I am more than happy to help you either sit down, get that resume ready for the next job you're looking for, whether it's in the same field that you're in, or you are in a different, or you're going in a different direction with your career. If you just want to have a quick chat, I do have a 15-minute consultation available as well, just to see what it is that you're looking for and how we can work together further. Guys, for those of you that came in and popped in, just say hello. And of course, if you have just general questions in regards to what it is that each generation has to offer, or what each generation has to contribute to the job market today, and you have questions in regards to that, you can go to mentorshelly.com/contact. You can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours, guys. No matter what generation you come from, folks, whether it be Gen A, Gen Z, Gen X like myself, or you're a boomer before me, or millennials, that's between Gen Zs and Gen Xs. No matter what generation you're a part of, make sure that your economic footprint is recognized, known, and is living up to the potential that you want it to. Because if it's not, then it's time to make a change. If it's not, then it's time for you to structure your personal economy to fit the lifestyle you want. And I can definitely help you with that by going to mentorshelly.com/consultations. Of course, as always, this is Mentor Shelly, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, whether it's in business, whether it's in the right career path, or whether it's in maybe some side hustles that you want to work on. All three of those, I can definitely help you get started. All right, guys, for those of you that joined me, you guys didn't want to interact with me today, but that's all right. I love you regardless, and I appreciate you stopping by. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. This is Mentor Shelly, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, no matter what generation you come from. The 9-to-5 schedule is restrictive, but if you want something different, you got to create something different. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.